Perched on a rock, a colored lizard, gray with orange markings, surveys the arid terrain and scurries off. Titles: Saguaro National Park, Living Laboratories.
Hi, my name is Jessie Pearl. I'm in the Resources Division at Saguaro National Park, and I'm interested in looking at the hydrogeology of this incredible park. I look at where the water is coming from in the low desert, these critical pools that our plants and animals that depend on during these dry, hot periods.
Water flowing into a pool.
One of the animals that depends on these tanahas to be full of water year-round is the endangered leopard frog.
Small white striped spotted frog perched by tanaha.
Tanahas, or bedrock pools in the park's drainages, are extremely important for the animals that live in the hot desert. They are these safe havens of water that the animals can travel to when the rest of the stream has dried up.
View of jagged rock formation leading to a pool of water.
Tanahas are filled by different types of water sources throughout the year. During parts of the year, the tanahas are filled by rain coming directly from the sky. Other parts of the year, the tanahas are filled by stream flow coming from high up in the mountains from melting snow.
Snow flowing into stream.
Now, we also have tanahas that are filled by these shallow bedrock aquifers and then fill the tanahas.
Water coming from within cracked rocks.
But we think there's another possible source for these bedrock pools. Here at Saguaro National Park, we have a theory that some of these critical tanahas are filled by water that's deep underground and out of sight during the driest times of the year when the animals most need this resource.
Hot sunshine through prickly pear cactus.
To figure out where the water is coming from and filling these pools, we test the water for its chemical composition. Water coming from underground versus the sky has a very different chemical composition.
Graph showing the differences between sodium sulfate and fluoride.
So we go out and take samples of the water to figure out what is feeding these tanahas, especially during the months of May and June.
Two scientists hiking through a stream.
To collect our water samples, we first go out and find a tanaha that has some of the characteristics we're looking for. We're looking for a pool that is not fed by water coming from upstream, but still has water trickling out downstream. We then take all of the water out of the pool to make sure the water that's refilled isn't contaminated by any rain or water that we can't account for.
Scientists removing water from tanaha.
Any animals that we might find in the tanaha as we take the water out, we remove very carefully and transfer it to a nearby pool.
Woman carrying frog on the tip of her fingers.
We then take our samples after we put on gloves so that the water is not contaminated by any of the oil on our skin.
Sample taken at a later date.
When we get back to the lab, we test the water's chemistry to determine where the water came from. Previous work has already described the water that's deep underground at the base of the Rincon Mountains.
Animation showing how the water flows.
If we find the same chemical composition of that water in our tanahas, we know that it must be coming from a place that's sometimes upwards of 9,000 years old.
Tadpoles swimming in tanaha.
One of our concerns about the tanahas that are filled by this deep underground aquifer are that buildings outside of the park might also tap into this aquifer to take up water and potentially reduce the amount of water that's available to refill the tanahas during the driest months of the year. At Saguaro National Park, water is one of the most precious resources. Figuring out where water is and why it is there throughout the year is one of the foremost questions we can ask to best prepare and manage for changes in water availability in the future.
Leopard frog jumps into tanaha.
If we can work with our neighbors to protect this water, we then can preserve future generations of leopard frogs and also preserve water for ourselves down the line.
Sunset over the desert. Titles appear. Narration by Jessie Pearl. Animation artist and geologist John He. Thanks to Andy L. Fisher, Chief of Interpretation. Don Swan, Biologist. Jessie Pearl, Geologist. Courtney King, Geologist. Mark Abbots, Fee Program Manager. Photo courtesy of Jeff Martinelli. Next Gen Ranger Corps videographer and edited by Tyler G. Woida. Special thanks to Friends of Saguaro National Park, National Park Service Youth Partnership, Arizona Lasercron Center, Geoscientist in the Parks, Geologic Society of America. Descriptive narration by William Fort.